Donald Trump says he would love to meet with Vladimir Putin after the Russian president suggested that he is open to a ceasefire in Ukraine, albeit with some pretty strong caveats. As Trump hosted the NATO Secretary-General at the White House overnight, the US landed in Moscow, some officials, for talks on the American proposed 30-day ceasefire.
Ukraine supports the push for peace. However, the conditions put forward by Putin could have devastating consequences for the country. Michelle Rimmer is across all the details for us this morning. Michelle, what has the Russian president had to say?
Well, we've been waiting for a response from Russia since Ukraine indicated that it's ready to accept a 30-day ceasefire deal proposed by the US earlier this week. The Russian president addressed this proposal in a joint press conference with his Belarusian counterpart, and his message was mixed. On the one hand, he said that he's for a proposed ceasefire and that he's willing to consider this 30-day pause in hostilities. However, he said that there are a number of sticking points that need to be discussed before Russia would accept any sort of deal. There were a number of sticking points that he outlined, but among them was what would happen to Ukrainian troops that are currently fighting in Russia's Kursk region. The Russian president said that they would not be allowed to leave and that they will either need to surrender or die. And so he wouldn't want an opportunity for them to be able to leave and return to Ukraine during a 30-day pause. He also said that any sort of cessation in hostilities would need to lead to ongoing long-term peace, and that this couldn't just be a 30-day window for Ukrainian forces to, get back in shape and to get more weapons and to really rearm themselves to continue the conflict. And he said that this any sort of ceasefire deal or any pause would also need to address the initial cause of the conflict, which Russia has always blamed on what it said was increased Western aggression. So this is obviously a contested idea. This is something that Ukraine and the West say is not the case. However, that's something that Russia and that Vladimir Putin has said really needs to be addressed. As I said, there are a number of conditions, and here are a few more that he outlined in that press conference.
Who
will give orders to cease hostilities? And what will be the price of such orders? Who will figure out who, in a 2,000-kilometre-long battlefield, had broken a ceasefire? And then who will blame whom in violation of this agreement? These are many of the questions that need to be analysed carefully by both sides. That's why the idea itself is right, and we absolutely support it. But there are questions we should discuss.
Michelle, it's such a crucial moment. What do we expect will happen next?
Well, in his statement, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he's willing to discuss these conditions and these potential sticking points with the US president over the phone. We've already had a response from Donald Trump, who said that he's ready and willing to talk to Vladimir Putin and that, he'll talk to him if it means getting a peace deal done. President Trump said that the words from the Russian leader were very promising, however, not complete. And he said that he hopes Russia will do the right thing and that if it does agree to a ceasefire, that negotiators are in a really good place to get a peace agreement done. Now, as we speak, there's a US envoy, Steve Witkoff. He's currently in Moscow and he's due to be speaking with the Russian president. We also have Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who's meeting with Donald Trump in the White House. And so these meetings are ongoing at the same time, and there's potential for further developments to come out of those two meetings as well in the coming hours.